you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this meeting and also to the ranking member. I think it's important to get these facts on the record, and your expertise is greatly appreciated. And also just whether we have where we can go with crafting legislation or coming up with legal solutions, as Dr. Aaron suggested. I'm going to just jump to my questions because I have a lot. My first question is to Ms. Doherty, and I just wanted to ask, reports have emerged that Russia has used the thermobaric weapons and cluster munitions against civilians in Ukraine. Have you seen evidence that Russia has used these weapons in Ukraine against civilian targets in a manner that violates international law, in your opinion?
Thank you very much for the questions, Representative Tenney. With regard to cluster munitions, definitely they have used cluster munitions widely in civilian areas and killed numerous civilians. We don't have exact statistics on how many civilian casualties have been caused, but definitely in civilian areas, cluster munition rockets in particular, but also missiles as well. Documented several cases of that. Kharkiv, I mentioned in my testimony, as well as other places, including near hospital and so forth. So that's a particular concern.
So we do have evidence of that we could use and potentially
definitely evidence.
Used. Okay.
Definitely evidence. Also, inherently indiscriminate weapons that violate international humanitarian law.
I also just wanted to ask you your opinion. Is the government of Russia has been sanctioned twice under the U.S. Chemical and Biological Weapons Control and Warfare Elimination Act of 1991 for its use of chemical weapons, and we've also seen the use in Syria as well. It's clear these sanctions have failed to really stop them in a deterrent way, since Syria was more recent, and prevent them from the future use of these chemical weapons. Could the U.S. Sanctions be done more effectively to deter Russia's use of chemical weapons? And I say that because I was meeting with a group of Syrian Americans this weekend who are very concerned that the chemical weapons could potentially be used as they were in Syria in this situation. And I just wondered if there was something we could do and that you would recommend with your expertise.
Sure. And if you want me to answer real quickly on the thermobaric side of things as well, okay. We don't have evidence. We haven't documented evidence of use yet, but we have seen evidence of Russian vehicles carrying thermobaric weapons. So it's possible that they could be used in the conflict. Just to wrap up that first question. In terms of sanctions, I guess I don't have comments on the specific sanctions that could be used, but obviously it's an area of concern that they could use them. We don't have evidence at this point of certainly not of having used them or any plans to use them at this point. So don't have a specific answer to that question in particular, but it's an area that we'll continue to monitor. It's an area we've tracked in the past. So thank you again.
Yeah, definitely need to find a solution to how we can do something that's effective to prevent that from potentially never happening.
If I could just comment very quickly on the use of the thermobaric weapons. We do have evidence of the OFZAB 500 being used, which is OFZAB-500. This is an aerial bomb. It's categorized as a fragmentation high explosive incendiary bomb. This is a type of thermobaric weapon, and there's a number of photos and videos that you can find that shows unexploded bombs of this type being removed from civilian homes. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. Also, just want to go to Dr. Aaron. The Kremlin is intentionally spreading lies that the United States and Ukraine are engaged in chemical and biological weapons activities in Ukraine. These claims are part of a broader, years-long disinformation campaign by the Kremlin to discredit the United States. For example, similar disinformation campaigns perpetuated by the Russians, the Soviets, have included spreading false claims that COVID-19, HIV were created in U.S. military labs. What is the Kremlin's goal, and can you address this misinformation campaign? Because there seems to be just a lot of issue. There's a lot of discussion on this in social media, and people are looking for answers and the truth here. And could you answer that quickly? Because I do have a legal question for you after that, if I have any time left.
I think part of the disinformation campaign is just to confuse people generally, but also I think it's to confuse the Russian people, so that the argument is out there that Russia is really doing this because the evil Ukrainians and the evil Americans. Of course, that's absolute nonsense, but I think that's part of the plan.
Thank you. Now, I want to ask you, because you mentioned the Alien Tort Statute, and I think Ms. Wild also mentioned, can we actually bring these people to justice? And my concern is, can we get jurisdiction over them? Can we compel appearances? Can we get remedies? And that was something a U.S.-based jurisdiction. But even on the international court situation, can we get that done? And you indicated there's a possibility, and I just want to know how realistic it is, because I think right now we are crying for justice as we see these horrific videos that not just here, but what President Zelensky showed the world this morning. We want justice, and we want to see Vladimir Putin pay the price for these horrific crimes and war crimes that we believe are happening. And I just like your legal expertise if I have any time left on that.
Yeah, so Representative Tenney, you're absolutely correct. And I think there will be justice, and we need it as quickly as possible. The only question is how long is it going to take? I think with the Alien Tort Statute, we would need to have individual Russian citizens who have assets in the United States who can be reasonably accused themselves of having committed war crimes. So whether it's a general or an oligarch or someone directly involved, and then an individual who was injured, a Russian national, could bring a civil suit in the United States. That's not going to be fast because we're still trying to assemble the information, and you would need to prove beyond a preponderance of evidence in a civil suit in the court. But I think that would be one mechanism. In terms of exercising, whether it's Germany or Spain, exercising jurisdiction under the universality principle of enforcement jurisdiction, the likelihood is the Russian nationals are not going to be in Germany or in Spain, and so you're going to be less likely to be able to implement that sooner. I don't know all the details of Spanish law or German law, so there may be a possibility for attachment of property, however, even in the absence of somebody appearing in court. But that would be for others to talk about.
Thank you. It just seems like legally a stretch for us to get jurisdiction over these people and use the U.S. court system. And how effective we could be internationally might actually. I just think it's going to be a stretch to get them into court here and actually get them to appear if they're not already hidden away squirreled away in some country where we can't get to them. It's curious. I mean, I think we need to explore every option to find justice, because right now it's absolutely horrific what we're experiencing. But thank you. I think my time's run out. Thank you to everyone and the witnesses, and thank you again to the chairman and the ranking member for bringing this important meeting at this important time in our country. Thank you.